this example where Rima bought a case of concert t-shirts for $450, and she keeps 2 of the t-shirts for herself, and she sold the remaining t-shirts for $560, making a profit on $10 on each t-shirt. And the question is, how many t-shirts were in the case? So we want to find out how many t-shirts she would have in the case. Well, to start with, we need to define our variable x. So x is going to equal to, well, what we're being asked to find, the number of t-shirts in the case. So we have x, and that's the number of t-shirts in the case. Now, she keeps 2 of those t-shirts for herself, so she only sells x minus 2. So this is the number of t-shirts she sells. And we know that the profit on each shirt is $10. So profit is calculated by taking the revenue that you generate and subtracting the cost. So we know that she makes $10 on each t-shirt. So we're looking at the profit per t-shirt. Well, her total revenue was $560. So we have $560 divided by the number of t-shirts she sells. That'll give us the revenue per t-shirt. And we're going to subtract from that the cost she paid for each t-shirt. Now, the cost per t-shirt is $450 divided by the number of t-shirts in the case. And we need to recognize that we have to determine a non-permissible value. So x, which is the number of t-shirts in the case, we know that that has to be positive. So it's going to have to be greater than 0. But we also have x minus 2, which has to be, the revenue has to be positive. So it's got to be greater than 0. So x has to be greater than 2. That is the restrictions in here. And of course, that makes sense that we have to have more than 2 t-shirts, and she kept 2 t-shirts for herself. Now we're looking for our lowest common denominator. In this case, our lowest common denominator is x minus 2 times x, and we multiply our whole equation by that lowest common denominator. So we have x minus 2 times x times 10. That's equal to x minus 2 times x times 10, not times 10, sorry, times 560 divided by x minus 2, subtract x minus 2 times x times 450 minus x. We multiply through, we have x squared minus 2, that gets multiplied by 10, so we have 10x squared minus 20x, and that's going to equal to this monstrosity here. So we're going to cancel the x minus 2, that gives us 560x minus, and our x cancels, and we have 450x minus 900. And so we want to be very careful here because we are subtracting this whole piece. which changes the signs when we go to simplify. So let's just move this up. I'm going to, on this side, I have 560x minus 450x plus 900. When I simplify this, this becomes 560 minus 450. That gives us 111x plus 90, and that's equal to 10x squared minus 20x. We want to move everything to one side. To do that, we're going to subtract 100x, and we're going to subtract 90. We bring that across, and we end up with 10x squared minus 20x minus 110x minus 120 equals 0. We'll just simplify that. So when we simplify this, we are going to have 10x squared minus 130x minus 900, and that's equal to 0. Now, notice that there's a common factor of 10 here. I'm going to divide both sides of my equation by 10, and that just simplifies it. We have x squared minus 130x minus 90, minus 13x minus 90 is equal to 0 still. So we want two numbers, if we solve this by factoring, two numbers that will multiply to give negative 90. So multiply to give negative 90, and we'll add to give negative 13. Because the 90 is negative, we want a negative and a positive. Because the negative is, or the addition is a negative, we want the absolute value of the negative number to be larger. So we can start with negative 10 times 9. That gives us negative 90. But if we have negative 10 times plus 9, that only gives us negative 1. Then I can keep factoring here. So I'm going to take negative 5, and actually I will make that positive 5. Positive 5 times negative 18. All I did was move a factor of negative 2 across. When we add 5 plus negative 18, I get negative 13. And so this becomes x plus 5 times x minus 18 equals 0. This gives me x plus 5 equals 0. X then is equal to negative 5. This is not permissible. X minus 18 equals 0. That gives me x is equal to 18. And 18 is the number of t-shirts in a case. If you wanted to solve this using the, rather than by factoring, you could use the quadratic formula. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. If we go back up to our equation, we know that a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 13, and c is equal to negative 90. And we'll come up with exactly the same answers.